Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 102, Stanley and the School Trip. Special thanks to Jonah Webb for suggesting this episode's title. One morning, Henry was feeling very ill. He felt like he had no steam. Sir Topham Hatt soon arrived. Henry, it looks like you are very ill. I am, sir, said Henry. I don't feel well at all. All the engines felt sad for Henry. And I was going to take a trip full of school children today, he said sadly. Now the children won't be able to go. Oh dear, said Thomas, we must find a replacement immediately. Yes, sir. Yes, Thomas, said Percy. Sir Topham Hatt, may I go? Said Sir Topham Hatt, maybe. Can someone please go shut my express coaches, said Gordon crossly. Henry was supposed to do it, but now because he's sick, nobody's going to. Be patient, said Toby. There are other things on our mind than you shunting your express coaches. Yeah, said Oliver, that isn't the most important thing in the world either. It isn't, said Gordon. Of course not, said Edward. Come on, said Topham Hatt, let Percy do it. Actually, said Topham Hatt, I have a much better idea. You know one of our new engines, Stanley, right? Of course, said James. I see him everywhere. It's hard to miss his bright silver paint. I think we'll give him a test today. If he does well with the school trip, then I'll let him pull coaches. Fantastic, said Percy. That's a much better idea after all. Are you sure, said Thomas? You've just been replaced. Nah, said Percy. It's all right. Stanley's my friend. I'll do anything to help a friend. That's settled then. I'll go tell him. And Sir Topham Hatt was off. When Stanley heard about it, he was very excited. Oh, goody, he said. I get to pull a school trip. Yay! Stanley went to Knapford Station, but only managed to find one coach. He said, that's probably enough anyway. Stanley shunted the coach to the platform and he ran around the other side. But when Stanley got there, he realized he did need another coach. There were tons of children there, and they were all really excited. The school teacher came up to him. Excuse me, Stanley, she said. We need another coach. There are many more passengers that we must fit onto here. Right, said Stanley. I guess I'll go have to find another coach. Don't worry, it won't be long. All right, said the teacher. We'll be waiting here. Goodbye, and Stanley was off. He said, where can I find an extra coach that nobody's using at the moment? I know. I'll go to the shed. Maybe they store one somewhere around there. Stanley rushed on to the turntable, very excited. And he ran off the other way. Excuse me, he said when he arrived at the shed. Do you guys keep an extra coach here? Afraid not, said Duck. Are you looking for one? Yes, said Stanley. They need another one for the school trip. Uh-oh, said Douglas. This isn't good at all. You need to find an extra coach. I know, said Stanley. Do you know where I can find one? Said Oliver. You could probably find one at the docks or something. Yeah, said Donald. Sometimes passenger ships come by there, and they need coaches there. You can probably find an extra one over there. All right, said Stanley. I'll be off. And he was away. Hopefully there's one there, said Stanley. He was very excited. But when he got to the docks, he was disappointed. There was Boko and Derek. Do you guys have any extra coaches here? He said. Afraid not, said Boko. Look, there's none to be found. Sorry. That's all right, said Stanley. I wonder what I'm going to do now. I'm not sure, said Derek, but you could try the fire station. Sometimes they have extra coaches there because of all the firemen that work there. You could probably try there. Maybe you'll find an extra one that's not being used at the moment. You're right, said Stanley. That's the perfect place to look. Goodbye. And Stanley was off. But when he arrived, he was very disappointed. Sorry, said Stepney. We don't have any coaches here. All we have is a fire engine and Harold. If you're looking for one, you could probably try the quarry. When visitors arrive to Sorter, they like to see our quarry. Sometimes the engines leave coaches there. Yeah, called Harold. Maybe I should go up and check for you. Nah, it's all right, said Stanley. I'm on a tight schedule. I have to go anyway. Goodbye, though, and thanks for your help. Goodbye, called Stepney. Stanley raced off down the line. He looped around the bend. Mavis was shunting some quarry cars. Stanley decided to sneak up on her. Hey, Mavis, he called. Do you have any... Whoa, cried Mavis, and she crashed into the buffers at the end of the line. Uh-oh, she said. That's going to take a while to clean up. Yes, it is, said Stanley. Sorry that I scared you, he said. Oh, that's fine, said Mavis, both sympathetic and frustrated. What do you need, Stanley? Oh, I was wondering if you had any extra coaches here. Afraid not, she said. Billy cleaned them out last night. I'm not sure we can think of any. There might be some at an old engine shed behind the quarry here. Really, said Stanley? Oh, that's great. Yes, let me clean these trucks up here. Please be quick, said Stanley. The school children are waiting. Mavis did her best, but it did take a while for the trucks to be cleaned up. Goodbye, called Stanley, and he was off. As he came out of the quarry, he could see the children on the other side. They were looking impatient. Don't worry, called Stanley. I'll be there in a sec. Stanley raced down the line. Oh, good, he called. There are lots of coaches here. Maybe if I just take one of the big ones, then I can be off. Just then, however, Neil arrived. Hello, Stanley. Are you taking the express? No, I just need a coach for the school trip. Oh, well, you can't take those. Those are Gordon's express coaches. Oh, well, then I'll just take... Just then, Coldy arrived. You can't take those either, Stanley. Those are Thomas's special coaches, Annie and Clarabelle. He's the only one that can pull them. Oh, bother, said Stanley. I've looked around the entire island of Sutter, and I haven't found a spare coach. Have you tried the yard, said Neil. The yard, said Stanley. That's the perfect place where they would keep an extra coach. Thanks, you guys, and Stanley was off. When Stanley arrived, he was right. There's an extra coach sitting right here. Oh my gosh, said Stanley. It's been here all along. Stanley zoomed to the station. Sorry it took so long, he said. Am I late? No, said the teacher. You're just on time. Everybody hop in. And everybody quickly got on. Here we go, said Stanley. And they were off. The children were very excited to go over the turntable for the first time. And they loved it when they zoomed up Henry's tunnel. They were also very excited when they got to see a new engine, Neville, pulling a large freight train. They thought it was very fun when they zoomed down the hill. And when they got to go through the tunnel. Stanley also thought it was very exciting. Finally, Stanley brought the passengers safely back to the station. Well done, said the school teacher. You're just on time, Stanley. That was the best school trip ever. Thank you, said Stanley. I'm sorry if I caused you so much trouble by running around trying to find a coach. No, laughed the teacher. It was actually quite fun. We got to see you race all the way around Sutter. Thanks, said Stanley. Hey, I guess this was a successful school trip after all.